Is the 905 detached market alive? Stay tuned to this week's episode of Prime Property. Good day, Toronto. Welcome to another episode of Prime Property. So glad you could join us here. Last week, I broke down the numbers of what was somewhat shocking of how the 416 detached market was faring. And this week, as promised, I'm going to break down the 905. So in case you missed that video about the 416 detached market, I'll put a link in the description below, or I'll put a little eye on the card right here. Now, as promised, I'm going to break those 905 numbers for you, but you need to understand that 905 is actually a lot larger than what most people think. So just to kind of recap of what the 905 is, you get your York region, which is the Markham, city of Markham, city of Vaughan, Richmond Hill. Then you get your Peel region, which has Mississauga, Brampton, Caledon. Then you go further west, you got the Halton region, which includes Milton, Burlington, Halton Hills, and Oakville. And then you go as far east in the Durham region, you got Pickering, Oshawa, Ajax, and Whitby. Then you go as far north in the Cottage, just before the Cottage area in the Simcoe region, which basically is everything south of Highway 90, which is right before the Cottages in Barrie. That's a mouthful, but it's just to illustrate to you that it's a lot bigger than what most people think. So here's the infographic that's similar to the one last week to show you what the numbers to date are in the detached homes for the 905 area. Again, you can see sales activity are through the roof. Red means an increase of over 10%, which is essentially everything. There's no blue areas, meaning there's no decrease in sales, with a few stagnant yellow ones here and there. Meaning from last year until this year, all across the board, seriously up in all the activity. However, like the 416, this doesn't depict the full picture of what's exactly going on, okay? Although sales are up for all the areas in 905, prices are actually down in more than half the regions. Have a look at this chart right here. You can see that there's a lot more blue areas because there's actually a decrease in prices. Again, this is because the buyer confidence is there. It doesn't mean that prices are going up. But what you should be putting up is your thumb, because make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the Prime Property channel. Now, many of the areas that we see drop in prices are all prices in the areas we deem unaffordable. But unlike the 4 and 6, where we had pockets of surge despite unaffordable prices, there isn't the demand and the supply curve to support that in the 905. The 4 and 6 is closer to the downtown core and has less detaches, meaning that there's more demand because people want to be closer to the core and less supply. The 905, on the other hand, is exactly the opposite. We have more supply because there is more properties up here that are larger, and there is less demand because we're further away from the core. The exact opposite effect. Now, new townhomes are what we call more affordable in this segment, but that's a totally different story. But when it comes to detaches, this is unfortunately the reality. Prices are generally down across the board. In most of the most notable cities in the 905 that you probably heard of that are deemed the most expensive, that actually has the lowest amount of sales increase. This is not a coincidence. This is because these areas are what we call the most expensive in those specific regions, because affordability is the name of the game now when it comes to real estate. So let me give you an example. York region, this is the city of King, so it's a little bit north and west of Vaughan. The average price here is $1.5 million. The percentage sales decrease is, the percentage price decrease is 10%. That's nuts, right? Still, decreased 10%. Now when you go west in the Halton region, this is the city of Oakville, where the average price is around 1.3 million, and you saw a decrease of about 0.3%. Now when you look in the Durham region, which is the east side, prices are a little bit more affordable, okay? And the average price is around 840,000. We actually saw an increase of 0.3%. Overall, the detached prices in the 905 area is really not doing too strong, with over 60% of the cities decreasing. But that's only because it's not within reach for the average Torontonian. And those who want to kind of reach for it, you have better options when you go closer to the core, and you can sacrifice a little bit of size. And that's what kind of new millennial cohort is doing. Now, I do expect the detached market to continue this way in the 905 because, again, the demand is not there. And unless someone opens up, say, maybe the credit or increases that money comes in or how much money you can borrow, such as reducing the stress test, I don't see a major change in the next few years for how the detached market in 905. Now, if you own a detached in 905, do not worry because you don't realize any losses until you sell something. Just keep in mind that you still own a detached home in the 905, which very likely you bought for less than what it actually is right now. And there are strategies that you can leverage that home to capitalize on how the real estate market is doing elsewhere. So if you're interested in those strategies, make sure to reach out to me. My contacts will be right here. Until next time, happy real estating. Now that you're done watching this one, how about this one? Oh, you know what? This one's good too. Ooh, this one's really good. You know what? Just watch the